Have you ever opened your fridge and just stopped to think about it? Probably not, right? We just grab a cold drink and we don't give it a second thought. But behind that super simple act is this complex, kind of invisible ballet of physics and engineering, and it's constantly fighting against chaos just to keep things cool. So today, let's dive into that hidden world. So you might be asking the big question, why all the complexity? I mean, isn't refrigeration just a simple cycle? You compress a gas, you expand it, it moves heat around? Easy. So why do we need all these extra controls? Well, that is the core of what we're going to unpack today. You know, in a perfect world, if you draw it out on a whiteboard, the refrigeration cycle is beautiful. It's just this perfect, elegant, closed loop where the refrigerant flows flawlessly. It changes state exactly when and where it's supposed to, with zero loss, zero friction, and just maximum efficiency. It's a total physicist's dream. But of course, we don't live on a whiteboard. The second you try to build this thing in the real world, stuff gets complicated. That theoretical perfection just runs headfirst into the messy, complicated laws of reality.
And this is where we meet the villains of our story. These are all the real-world forces that are constantly trying to mess up that perfect cycle. And these are the problems that every single refrigeration system, from the freezer in your kitchen to a giant industrial cold room, has to solve.
So let's start at the heart of the system, the compressor. Inside this thing, pressure drops in the pipes and valves, and that just saps the system's power. It's kind of like trying to run with a clogged artery. Then you've got friction from all those moving parts, which creates heat, unwanted heat that the system now has to work even harder to get rid of. And maybe worst of all, the lubricating oil that keeps the compressor running can mix with the refrigerant. This is a total nightmare because that oil coats the inside of the pipes, acting like an insulator and basically gumming up the entire system. And what's so cool about this diagram is that you can actually see the chaos. Right here, you can pinpoint exactly where those pressure drops happen as the refrigerant flows in and out. You can just imagine the friction on that piston, the potential for little leaks. This is the battlefield where that perfect theory gets really, really messy. Okay, so if those are the villains, who are the heroes? Well, this is where the control systems come in. These are the brains of the whole operation. They're a whole network of sensors and valves and switches designed specifically to fight back against all that chaos and to keep the cycle running safely and efficiently. And these controls really fall into three main teams. First up, you've got your safety controls. Their one and only job is to prevent the whole thing from blowing up or breaking down. Then you have the operation controls, and they're the ones making sure the system just runs smoothly day to day. And finally, you've got capacity controls, which are all about precision, making sure you get the exact temperature you want, no more, no less. And check this out. This diagram shows you exactly where all these heroes live in the system. And you can see it's not just one central computer, it's a whole distributed network. See the yellow circles? Those are your safety switches. The orange ones are your operational parts. And the blue are the capacity controls, all scattered throughout the system, working together. Okay, so now let's zoom in on two of the absolute most clever strategies that these control systems use. They're called superheating and subcooling, and they are absolutely critical both for protecting the system from destroying itself and for squeezing every last bit of cooling power out of it. Okay, so here is the number one unbreakable rule of refrigeration. Compressors are designed to compress gas, not liquid. I mean, think about it. You can squeeze air, but you can't really squeeze water, right? Trying to force liquid into a compressor will literally destroy it. It's a catastrophic failure called slugging. That's why superheating is so vital. It adds just a little bit of extra heat to the refrigerant after it has already turned into a gas. This creates a safety buffer, just to be 100% sure not a single liquid droplet gets into the compressor. Then, on the other end, we have subcooling. This does the opposite. It chills the liquid refrigerant a little extra before it gets to the expansion valve. This makes sure there are no gas bubbles, which maximizes the cooling effect and makes the whole process way more efficient. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but what do these things actually look like in the real world? Let's check out the actual hardware, the physical components that make these clever strategies happen.
This little beauty is a superheater subcooler. It's basically a heat exchanger that does both jobs at the same time. How clever is that? It takes the really cold vapor coming out of the evaporator and uses it to cool down the hot liquid coming from the condenser. So with one device, it's superheating the vapor to protect the compressor and subcooling the liquid to boost efficiency. It's just an incredibly elegant piece of engineering.
And these are the gatekeepers, the expansion valves. They act like the system's precision nozzle. Over on the left, you've got a classic mechanical valve. It uses pressures and a little temperature sensing bulb to do its job. And on the right, you have the modern electronic version, which uses sensors and a microprocessor for ridiculously precise control. But both are designed to do that one critical thing: manage the step where high-pressure liquid explodes into a super cold, low-pressure spray. So in the end, that perfect refrigeration cycle, it doesn't actually exist in the real world. Instead, what we have is this constant invisible battle between physical chaos and intelligent control systems. And the result of that battle is that your food stays fresh and your drinks stay cold. It's this hidden marvel of engineering that we all rely on every single day. Kind of cool to think about, right?